Now that the pro days are over for the top 4 QB prospects, I think it's time we get into a mini evaluation of how I feel about each guy. You're listening to Money in the Bank. I know I promised you guys a video on Will Levis specifically a few weeks ago. Things happened, and we had to weigh some things out as far as like what we wanted to cover. And now is the perfect time to get into it. Give you Will Levis plus 3 more, being the other 3 QB prospects. So to start off with Will Levis, he's a guy that I have not been high on throughout this draft process. Of course, and I'll be honest about my bias. You get into a point where you like who you like. You find the things that people are saying about the candidate that you like, and you kind of just push those. It's a narrative thing. I get it, right? But having a chance to actually sit back and watch some of Will Levis's tape, I understand what scouts see in his ability and how they think it can translate to the league in a very big way. The biggest thing here, of course, is being 6'4", 229 pounds. He didn't run the 40 at the combine, but being projected to run like a 4.6, I kind of think I'm thinking he's 4.65, pushing 4.7, which is fine. That's mobile. That's plenty mobile enough with that size. That is a load of a guy to try to take down if he's out in the open space. So he does give you that ability to run. If you look at his career, starting at Penn State, that was his career. His career was pretty much being Taysom Hill and running and being a run threat in their offense while Sean Clifford was the starter. Now on to what he did at Kentucky. Now his numbers are not glaring. I mean, he never threw for more than 2,800 yards in his 2 years. 2,800 yards, and he threw for 2,800 yards in 2021, and his past season threw for 2,400. Had some injuries it was nicked here and there, so it kind of had an impact on his numbers. So the numbers aren't great. They aren't over-alarmingly, video game like you see with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. But I do understand what the scouts see. He is a guy that I was surprised throws with good anticipation. There are throws in his catalog of film that you can find that he is drop back, boom, that ball is out. That is a real thing, and whether it's incompletions, there are a few plays against Ole Miss. Watching QB school with JT O'Sullivan, there's a few throws against Ole Miss that are incompletions, but you start to see that they're incompletions because of a hold by the defensive back. But if that's a clean play, that ball is out and that ball is on the money on the receiver to be able to make a catch. And even with the penalties, some of these passes were still catchable. So there are good things. There are a lot of good things in his film that I understand that from a physical profile, from a athletic standpoint, you feel that he's got a big enough arm. He's got the mobility that even if we still have to develop him as a passer, we can still make up for what he does well with his legs. And I can understand a good staff feeling like we can push him. We can poke and prod this guy to being a good NFL quarterback. So for me, I can understand like the Raiders, for example, right? The Raiders who just signed Jimmy Garoppolo, who will be the starter and is a good starter. He's a middle of the road starter, a guy that you can win with. He's been proven to be able to win no matter how you feel about the staffs. He has played for great staffs, but no matter how you feel about that, he has won. He's played in games as a starter and won football games. That's all I can really tell you. A staff like that doesn't have to push Will Levis to start from day one, that can work. That can help develop him. And I think at this point, you have a quarterback in Jimmy G that's starting to understand that his moment in the sun is waning, and he's getting closer and closer to having to be that mentor role for whoever is next. And he's not a marquee franchise option for a team that has championship aspirations. He can play you into a playoff spot. He can even take it to he can play in a Super Bowl for you. But can he win the big ones? Not really. So a staff like that with Josh McDaniels, who I think did a good job with Mac Jones in his rookie season. Obviously has a great relationship with Tom Brady and was able great meaning that they work well together and they win. Having that relationship as well, I think that Will Levis would be a guy that he would like. Is more so it's more athletic than what he's worked with in the past, but it is more so in line of what he could possibly. It is more so in line of what he could possibly see himself working with in the future. These kids are getting more athletic. You're not getting Guys like Matt Jones that went in the top 15 of the draft, those won't be happening too often as these kids get more and more athletic. The running ability of their game is going to be what supersedes. I won't say what supersedes, but it's going to be a big part of their game, no matter whether they're good pocket passers or not. So the guys are going to get more athletic. But Will Levis, now there are parts of his game, of course, that we all think that he can improve upon. Now he is kind of known to jump out of a read or not go through all of the reads that you would think he would go through. And mind you, like I heard it from JT O'Sullivan, you can't necessarily pinpoint what's a bad read in everybody's offense because you're not in the quarterback room to hear what they're teaching them on a day in, day out basis. And that I agree with. But there are some things that as just a general watcher of the game and having general knowledge of football that you see and say, all right, well, if we're going left or right, you just totally skipped any of your downfield progressions and went straight to the check down. You didn't really even give it a chance to develop down the field. Those are some things that you may see from Will Levis where he may just miss, where he may just get a little antsy and go to the check down and not sit through the read and give it and not give the play a chance to develop down the field. With some of the arm talent that he has, he does sometimes shy away from making certain throws. And again, back to what are his reads on certain plays. There are some times where it's like, all right, if you're this big arm quarterback and you're projected to be a top 10 pick and you're supposed to be a high-end player coming out at a professional level, then I want to see you make certain throws, man. Because these are throws that I believe that Bryce Young would make if given the opportunity. Even if the read is there, I believe that he's good enough and the coaches trust him enough to be able to take it over and do what you feel is best. I don't feel that he had the control of the play calling, not the play calling, but had the control to be able to dictate what was gonna happen once the ball was snapped. He was more so of a player by the book kind of guy, which led to what we got during his last 2 seasons at Kentucky. Good, not great. Production is solid, not superb. And he's a guy that has physical tools, but sometimes in his processing can get a little lackadaisical or just get a little too antsy. But that's my evaluation of Levis.